Hi guys, Katerina here with Tori and Betsy. It is a Thursday evening and Salem is here also. She had to let you know.
Don't forget me.
She's like, I'm also here, although I am not of drinking age and cannot participate in the wine. I am here.
When are we gonna get mic'd up? Like, can y'all hear me?
Have you listened to the podcast?
Not lately, not since I started being in them regularly.
Do you listen to
them? Me, sometimes. More just, I don't listen to all of them because I am in them. I know what we said.
Yeah. I have a day the next day where I'm like, oh, did I say that? And
Betsy will be like, was it that bad?
I used to listen to them and then I was like critiquing myself too much. So then I was like, I'm not doing that.
I every now and then will listen to them because I like want to see like quality and not that I'm good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't listen to all of them, but sometimes I'll listen to one. Especially if I feel like it was a good topic where someone else said some stuff that I was like, ooh, that. And that's a good one for me to listen to just see what how the podcast is doing. Wow, are you going to talk this whole time? Not that everybody isn't listening to hear the baby talk. Oh, Salem. Well, welcome.
What's the topic?
The topic I actually texted to these girls yesterday, so for once, they can't be like, oh, she's from this army, I didn't know.
No earthly idea. You could say anything. Literally, you could say anything, and I would be like, okay.
Okay, the topic is Betsy's love life.
Okay.
No, that wasn't it. Where is it? That's the question. This one's actually a true crime episode. Betsy's missing love life. Just kidding.
Kat loves to pimp me out, and I'm not a good...
She's not a good...
What is it called?
I don't think we want to... That's okay. This is going down a dark path. Next topic. Okay. The actual topic, the actual subject matter that I picked. I've been like keeping a list of things I want to talk about as they come up on the podcast when we're like, ooh, we should talk about that another time. Or when I come across conversations or I hear somebody talking on something or reading an article about it and I'm like, ooh, that resonates with me. I've been keeping a list. And so today's topic is about minimizing pain and minimizing suffering. And I realized that that phrase might invoke an image of less, like a podcast about, oh, how do we lessen our pain? But it's kind of the opposite about, I really want to talk about how we tend to minimize our own pain and minimize the pain of others in terms of importance and say like, well, it's not that bad, or like, I shouldn't be freaking out over this. Because it's something that I've been very guilty of for a very, very long time. And it's actually, yes, Salem, it's actually important to recognize pain and suffering and trauma so that you can actually process it. Because if you don't recognize it, you certainly can't process it. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I did warn these women yesterday that we were doing a podcast and the topic. So it's not on me if they feel like...
Whoa, am I taking the floor?
I'm putting the baby down. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how long that lasts. Okay, so I think the way I want to open the topic would be minimizing others' pain. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, Betsy's voguing for the camera, so that's good. And so we tend to minimize others' pain and others' suffering. And recently a friend of mine posted something about how one mom, she has twins, which I can't even imagine how difficult that is. And a mom said something to her like, oh, having twins would be better than having 2 kids in under a year. Yeah. And she was upset about it because she was like, why would she say that to me? Like minimizing what I've been through and like the challenges I face.
Like, oh, at least you're doing it all at once.
Yeah, like, oh, it's probably better than having them back to back. And it's like, I'm sorry, did you have twins? Like, what do you know about it? It's just rude. Like,
I think we all do that naturally too with a lot of things. it's so easy to say how someone else is feeling when you're not in their shoes.
At least it's not this, or it could be worse if blank. Like,
yes.
Yeah, all the time.
I try to do that with myself just to coach myself. Like, I'm like, all right, you got to go do X, Y, Z. At least you're not doing this other thing.
Don't you think there's a big difference between maintaining perspective and minimizing your pain when you shouldn't? So there's perspective of like, okay, I need to take a deep breath. I'm freaking out. Ultimately, everything's going to be okay. We will figure this out. Like, there's that.
Yeah, it's different.
That's different than being like, I should be fine with this. I shouldn't be so upset by this.
The people that are close to me are like, they know this. They're not allowed to say like, it's going to be okay. Like, and I know that's like the thing that people like should say, or like
I didn't know that, Tori.
No, I can't.
It makes you feel like they're saying it's not a big deal.
Exactly. And like, it doesn't matter how they, like, it could be sincere. Like, that person could be sincere saying
if you're freaking out, that you don't recognize too that it is going to be okay.
Right.
It still might hurt.
But like
really
in that
right
moment,
now.
like what I don't need is you to like dismiss how I'm feeling, and I feel like that feels and it doesn't always mean that it is dismissive. It feels that way for me. So like everybody that is close to me knows that that's like not the thing to say to me.
It also sometimes when someone's like, oh, it's going to be fine or it's going to be okay, it sometimes can feel like, I don't want, your feelings are making me uncomfortable. Stop talking about it. And you don't want to feel shut down.
Or you'll figure it out. You'll work it out.
It'll be fine.
Like that. Yeah, you can't do that to me.
What about like everything happens for a reason?
I can't stand that either.
I have this.
So I do have a question on that note, and I'm not being sarcastic. Is there anything that you would like people to say? Because I do think like I'm horrible. When someone's upset, I'm like, oh, avoid. Like I can't do it. I can't look like. I don't know.
I would rather.
I sometimes probably say awkward things like that because I don't know how to say. So what do you just want people to do?
Well, Daryl's the same way. Like he'll say that to me too. He's like, what do you want me to say? Or like, how am I supposed to fix this?
You just want someone to listen.
You can't fix it. Like, just listen. Yeah, just listen. Or if I tell you something and express something that's like sucky to me, like
that really
I would
sucks.
rather you tell me that really sucks or like that is hard than like try to make that it's okay or like exactly.
You're
I'm not
looking
asking you
to
to fix
express how you feel and get that off your chest and put it out there versus saying like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like that's not what you're looking for. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I think sometimes it's better to just be like, that sucks or that's hard. And
I feel like you get that.
Thank you. Like, I would like to think I don't. I think when I was like a decade ago, I think I had a lot less compassion. I had lived a lot less, and
I think that has something to do with it too. It's like I've lived a lot, so like it's okay if what you are hearing from someone that is like heartbreaking or like it's upsetting. Like it's okay for you to look at them and be like, that is really hard. Like that is more natural than saying like, I hope it's okay. Like you'll figure it out. It's gonna get better.
You're dismissing my pain. So a couple thoughts. One is I have this really vivid memory of when I was in high school being at a funeral that was an extremely sad funeral. A woman had died way too young. Way too young. And I remember being really close to the husband, like standing really close to the husband, and a man whose wife was living came up to him and was saying stuff like, God has a plan, blah, blah, all this kind of just, to me, I was only in high school and I was like, that is not okay. And the husband of the dead woman can say that if he wants to.
Right.
But it is not your place to say to that man, oh, there's a plan and there's a purpose for this tragedy in your life. Like, what the do you know?
It's like, okay, here's a good analogy. So, like, it's an open wound, okay? And you pour in, like, alcohol on that wound. Like, yes, in the end, like, that's what needs to happen and that's what's going to fix it.
But maybe we're not ready.
But, like, it burns, okay? Like, it burns right there and you're not ready for that.
And also, it's important that I come to the conclusion that things happen for a reason and that, like, ultimately we're going to be okay. It's important that eventually I come to that conclusion. Right. You don't need to say that to me in my moment of suffering.
Yeah.
That is not the time. I also will say, even though you feel like, ooh, avoid negative feelings, I have seen you, Betsy, react well in some circumstances where something upsetting was happening. Like, a few months ago, I was kind of upset because I felt like something was coming that was going to be unpleasant. And Betsy's reaction was so good.
Yeah, she is good with her words.
You are good with words.
You might not think that you are, but you really are.
And maybe it makes you uncomfortable, but you had a very real, you were like, this is how I'm going to show up for you when this takes place. And it meant so much to me and genuinely made me feel better. Like, okay, there is somebody who's going to have my back in a real way and show up for me in a way that I actually need, that will help me when this happens. And I think sometimes that's one way you can help if you don't want to just say like, okay, that sucks, I'm sorry, is like really analyze the situation from someone's perspective and be like, what is a real tangible way I can show up?
How do I be the light? Like, like you're really good at that. Or like, how do I like reevaluate the way that you're thinking in a way that's like a more positive mindset? Right. Like you're really good at that.
You were like, I'm gonna do that when that happens.
Yeah,
I'm
like I'll show up for you like this,
and it's gonna be okay when I'm gonna make it okay in this area. And
like you'll say better. Like, I hear you, but like let me tell you like a different perspective of this.
Yeah, or anytime I've like freaked out to you, you have like you're like, ooh, you have practical solutions. You're a doer. You're like, ooh, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna do this over here. We're gonna do this over there. Whereas, and then like I think Tori's more of a person where if like you reach
I'm
out,
like, yeah, it's dark. It's sad there.
It is sad there, but
I think also, part of that comes. Oh
no, go ahead.
I think part of that reaction comes from the panic of, oh my gosh, someone I love, someone I enjoy, someone I care about. Even if it's like one of my friends' friends and I'm in that circle or something, like where I see them in pain, I'm like, okay, no, like, and I just go to like, what can we do to fix this? Because I don't want anyone to feel like sad or pain. Just like, I don't like.
Yeah, you're like, how can I make it better?
Yeah.
But you do a good job making it better in a practical way. So it's not helpful to say to somebody like, oh, it'll be fine, whatever. It can be helpful to be like, well, when this happens or if this is happening, this is how I will help you. I will show up and I will do this. And like in a way, when you take away a little piece of what feels like the burden and the challenge, you are actually helping, and it feels a little bit like a relief. Like, okay, somebody's showing up for me in a real manner. Or like when Betsy's come over in the past, like a lot of times you would like do my dishes after I had saved.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you noticed that because that was pain for me, Kat. Like,
that's
I
real love.
Do dishes, and I was like, she had a child. Just clean the bowl.
You gotta do.
It's the least you can do around here. You can't nurse the baby. Go do the dishes. But oh my gosh. Thank you.
I really do. No, my sister says I have all of the love languages, which is a curse because they're all a big deal. But the good news is if you love on me in any way, I'm going to remember it forever.
That was so great. And it's like this little thing.
Oh, it can be it's the tiniest. You can tell I've like been beat up a little bit.
Just a little bruise.
Just a little, like the apple that's like at the bottom of the barrel and rolls around. I'm
That's
like,
me. I'm like, that was so nice. I'm going to hold on to that.
Oh my gosh. You are the worst at that because okay, so we all do real estate. We have to make calls all the time. Some of these people have been in the database for 2 years. Maybe we never closed a deal with them. We might have never gotten them on the phone. If they say something to Tori like, thank you, period, she's like, now listen to this. They went out of their way to text me this, and how sweet is that? And I'm like, thinking in my head, like,
they're like telling me to F off, and I'm like, but they did it in a nice way.
Yes,
and that's what matters.
Yeah, if they show the least bit of like,
I'm like, cancel.
Hey, don't contact me. She's like, I mean, do they need to say it that way? They could have at least extended their most sincere apology. And I'm thinking, I'm like, if it was me, I would have told someone to F off too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I will not work with someone if they're like just a little bit like.
Tori needs you to be overly friendly.
Yes.
Or she's taking it personally.
You're and like that too. I mean, not to my extent, but we're very on the same page of that.
Yeah, I can totally, if you can be a raging asshole and I can work with you, but I really appreciate someone who is sweet. But it goes back to that like being beaten up thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like I take it as a challenge. Like if working in customer service for years, doing like also in the restaurant business, if I go up to a customer, whether they're at the bar or a table, and they're rude, it's then like my goal. I'm like, I'm gonna make
you're
them
like my
love
mom.
me.
She's like, oh, those people I kill them with kindness. And
well,
I'm like, absolutely.
And not even always that, but like by the end of the conversation, like they're gonna love me, and I thrive off that, and I'm like, I knew I'd win them. Like I love that.
Yeah. See, I don't want to win anybody over.
Oh, I can win people.
I mean, I can.
But you want people to be warm and fuzzy. Anyway.
Automatic.
Oh, Salem.
You're so cute.
It's a sad day for her when she, you know, I don't know. She's tiny and everyone does. Oh, yawned it out.
Look at the tears.
Was that a tear? Why are you crying? I don't know why she's crying. Okay, do you want to eat again? I don't know.
I think another thing is, you, Kat, love to make pain disappear. Like, you're like, no, I'm not really going through that. I'm not struggling. But at that same point in time, you are so empathetic to other people, and I am not. Like, I don't want people to know I'm struggling if I am struggling. And I don't think I'm not as good at holding it together as you are. Like, it might be more obvious if I'm struggling, even if I'm trying to hide it. But, like, my empathy is just not there. Now, if I love you, I might have a higher tolerance for it, but the average person, like, I don't have that empathetic gene.
Like a piece of bread, or if in there is those like wafers for babies in the orange and white box. Tell us.
You were hungry.
So I used to be like, when I was in college, not in college. When I was a senior in high school, I took one of those aptitude tests going into college, and I got like a 0 on compassion. It was like you have none. And I've changed a lot over time. I think because I've learned, that it is okay to be human and to be weak, or to have weaknesses. Like, because I have a high capacity for pain, and I would like to pretend like I don't have any. I cannot be wounded. I am not immortal.
Oh, you are so, like, you're like, I
will not be hurt by anyone.
You could physically stab Katerina, and she would be like, I didn't even feel it. And you'd be like, well, you're bleeding, and she'd be like, I wanted red on my outfit. That's what it was missing.
Like, that's what it was for. And also, your knife sucks.
I mean, and then she would actually truly go on to tell Tori and I, like, you know, these stitches look pretty cool. What do y'all think? Honestly, like, it was a good point in my week. I needed a break, and I got
people to know this, but
great.
When you got injections, she was like, didn't want to take ibuprofen. She's like, no, I want to feel how bad it's gonna hurt.
I wanted to see what it would feel.
And I was like,
I'm broken.
Hurts themselves like that? Like, I will do which is funny because my life has been a little painful so far.
Yes, it has.
But like, I will do anything to prevent myself from pain. Like, like if I know that something's gonna hurt me, I'm like, yeah, canceled.
I like to pretend. I think that I can will away suffering, and like, I am not weak. I am not mortal. I cannot be wounded. You cannot hurt me.
You're like,
So it's
you're
really
a vampire. It's fine.
It's fine. I'm fine.
I feel like that with boys. Like, I used to not open up at all because I'm like, then they can never win. I always viewed it like that. Like, if I'm always in control, they can never win.
Oh, it is very hard for me, and you people are in my innermost circle, and even I think being vulnerable with you guys about the pain I've experienced in my romantic life has been so hard to share. Like, it has to be a decision. I'm like, it is okay for people to know that you can be wounded.
Yeah, I'm
like when we
I'm not like, I'm not really that
you got hurt.
I love it.
But when people get to know me and get close to me, I'm like, oh, they're gonna know.
They're gonna know.
Like, it's like, I'm like out to the, like, I feel naked.
Tori, you would have to be a robot to not be hurt by some of the things you've gone through.
But I'm just like,
you would genuinely have to be a robot.
Working towards Kat and getting Kat, like, knowing more about me.
And I'm gonna get in there.
And you do, and your family does, and I'm like, you Wiley, stay away.
My family likes to get up in there.
Your mom's like, but how do you really feel after XYZ? And I'm like,
it's so
Heather,
funny.
It wasn't like that.
Get away from
people
me.
Like spill everything to you, like. And it's like a lot of the people that I'm like really close to, or the people that I choose to like be in my life, are the people that like people come up to them and just like tell them their story. I'm like, spill everything.
You like people that are very.
But you're like, people do that to you all the time.
Oh,
people do that to Daryl all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I've met one, I think there was a person who worked at Keaton & Company, and it was like her first week on the job, and I met her, and within like 30 minutes, she was like crying to me about her boyfriend, and I was like, you need to dump that boy.
I've had that happen with so many professionals, like all my therapists, like they've told me about.
And I'm like
I think
that,
you get
like,
in with
all my
therapist.
professionals and doctors too. Like I'm like, so we're BFFs, and I know
that's like me. Like I could be in a grocery store and somebody come up and they're like, "Let me tell you about my life and how sad it is," and I'm like, do I just have that? Like, am I like Eeyore with a cloud over their head?
You are
like,
Eeyore.
It's like, why does people think that that's like the thing to do with me?
But I think you do a good job of not minimizing someone's pain. So if someone mentions something, you're not coming back with oh, it's gonna be fine, or whatever, or like shying away from their. Now you don't want to talk about your stuff,
but you can talk about your stuff all you want to, but you don't ask me about mine. Okay,
you leave me alone.
You are really good at that, and relating to the person, and like knowing what to say when I'm like, what? You just kind of get
I feel like you're like that.
And even I can think of an example right now of people that I know that you've been around that you were like immediately felt a connection to them and kind of like, I don't know, helped out in a way.
So I think the important point to all of that is like, it is okay to feel pain. We are human. I'm still working on that.
You've came a long way.
I feel like I have. Got
the 2 years that.
But yeah, just in the last couple years, I've realized that like it's okay to feel pain. It's okay to admit feeling pain. It's okay to say that you're suffering. That wasn't something that I felt okay with or was good at. Wowee, the dogs. Okay. And then I don't need to minimize my own pain. Like I don't need to say like I don't know. I would have a tendency in the past to just like shove it down. We're going to ignore it. We're not going to think about it. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to recognize it. And
pretend it didn't even
we're going to pretend like we're just going to shove that down, tuck it away. And I'm so
I feel like
good
people
at that.
naturally do that. Like most.
I don't know. No, there's a lot of people who make it the center of everything.
You know, some people they thrive on it.
Yeah.
There's some people just deal with it.
I'm assuming some people are good at just processing.
Yeah, there's normal people actually.
I'm like, I just don't really. Does people like not do that?
People
like, that's
people
crazy.
have no shame in knowing like, hey, I'm going through something hard. Like,
yeah, and
some people know how to deal with it, even if they have shame, and then some people just maybe they like that attention unknowingly.
Yeah, so it goes both ways. And then I think in addition to that, actually like meditating on it and talking about it and admitting that something was really hard and really terrible. And like, I think I've finally gotten to a place where I can look at the past few years and be like, oh, that was traumatic. Mm-hmm. What happened? There were things that happened that were traumatic. There were things that happened that were extremely upsetting. Hi, Tether. Salem is just staring right into Tori's eyes.
Are you trying to eat me?
She's like, you allowed to cough anywhere near me. I worry you're choking.
Delicious. Oh my goodness.
Now she is truly.
She's trying to eat Tori. Goodness gracious. Oh, okay. So last few years, I've learned a lot about recognizing your hurt and processing it, and I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure that out, and I'm still processing a lot of stuff. Hi. And also, wow.
It's just chaos.
Y'all don't expect anything more than you.
This is part of the podcast, though. It's like you're in our living room.
This is our production studio.
You're right at home.
That's why I do feel like I need to be mic'd, though.
I do have little mics, but we would have to choose between little mics and the big mic.
I want to be in like we'd have to be in astronaut suits, like a motorcycle helmet.
What?
Where you don't hear anything around you, you only hear the noise within it. You know what I'm saying?
What about just AirPods? I don't know. Like I'm like.
Okay, you can just buy us AirPods. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll settle with that.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that later.
Discussion ended.
But
enough's enough.
Also, I want to talk about when we say things like, I should be fine, or I should be happy, or I should be okay with this. Because I have a huge, that I've had a big problem with for...
Or with time, it will get better or go away.
Or like, you just need to keep going and it will be okay. Yes. Just give it time, or like, let's just see. Is there another wafer, or did we eat both of them?
There's I don't think there's a standard for that. I mean, there's some things in life that even if you feel sad, or if you feel pain like 15 years later, I think that's normal. There's some things that like there's some things that we may never be okay with handling or dealing with, or like feeling about. Like there's no time, there's no normal, I should be this, or
I read
at this point I should be
terrible
okay.
thing that I was like, no. This terrible thing that was like, there are some wounds that will never fully heal. Was that from you? And I was like, no. What?
Yeah.
That's...
So there's some things that happen to some people that you never
like...
Which makes sense. There are some things that if you think about it, that have happened, that you're like, how am I ever going to think about that and not feel like, wow, that was a really hard
that's
thing.
Always going to
It doesn't mean that like over time, you're thinking about it less and less. Like a breakup, whatever it is, like I hope you're not waking up thinking about that every day for the rest of your life. I just hope you're not.
Probably process.
But it doesn't mean that if you haven't thought about it for a year, that when you think about it, it's not still going to make you feel that sadness. And it's okay that
there's like certain, like there's also like certain seasons where things can like
get to you,
or be sad, like,
or come back,
or come
totally.
like Christmas time, like if you like Christmas, like being in a room full of people and like missing someone on Christmas, like it's gonna be hard every single year. Like, is it gonna be as traumatic or terrible as like the first Christmas without them? Like, no, but that wound is still open. Like
no, that's
like there's certain seasons in life where like it's okay that feels heavier than like in the summer when it's the weather's nicer and like
and you're not around all your family.
Exactly.
I think there's also some wounds that were like years and years and years in the making, and so it's like you can't really expect to fully heal from something within like 6 months that was like a 10-year situation, or like a 10-year buildup.
Or like for like me, some of the stuff that like happened in my childhood that like I don't remember until like I'm talking about something in my adulthood, or like I'm thinking back at my childhood, and you're like, wow, that was really a lot for that little 5-year-old, like that didn't even think that like thought this was just normal.
That's fine.
So like you don't even process something like that, or like that something was really traumatic until like later on in life.
There's also, I've realized this recently, and I don't know that this had really been something I thought much about, but like even sometimes it's things getting better that make you, it shines a light on past sadnesses that have happened, and it can trigger grief and bring it back up. So it's not even like, oh, something bad has happened and so it's bringing up bad things from my past. It can be something good or nice happening, and the contrast or the way that you compare it to the past can start a whole nother grieving period, which I'm like, that's delicious, love that. But it's, I guess,
and that's where like I feel like when you say something like that, I'm like, collateral beauty, like that's the word for that.
You have joy and sorrow live in tandem.
Yes, they really do. There was like, I don't know, I was doing like an Enneagram test like a while back or something, and like one of the questions, I think I've like even actually mentioned this, but like one of the questions was like, do you think that there's something beautiful in like a hard time or like sadness? And like, I was like, yeah, like it can be beautiful. Like something that's like really sad or like you're mourning, like can be beautiful. And like the person that was taking the test too, like right beside me was like, no, like most humans do not react like that. And I was like, is that not, like, you don't think like something like that could be beautiful? And they're like, no, like it's sad. Like sad and beautiful do not go together. Like
but they do.
But they do.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to recognize when you're feeling that so that you can process it and grieve again. And like maybe you weren't done grieving, or maybe you didn't fully grieve something you thought that you did. And
well, there's like a time even like where you're like, it's happy tears and you're like, I don't even know why I'm crying. Like, I don't know why this is like, you know, like, have you ever said that or thought that? Like, you know, like, I don't even, like, this is happy. Like, this is why am I? But it's the grief.
I think, like, lately there have been things that have caught me off guard where I'm like, ooh, I'm reacting
You're like, oh, wow, emotion for
like,
this? What?
Like, I was happy about this, but why does it hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. It's fantastic. And I think that we tend to say, and that's a great example of saying, like, I should just be happy. Oh, and I say it to myself, where I'm like,
I know. I'm like, you're being ridiculous.
Enjoy anything.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like, don't ruin the moment.
Right. And like, I should just be happy. I should be fine with this. But the should game to me is so terrible.
And that's comparison too. Where's that coming from? Like, where's that
should
created version? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, who created?
You could find someone who's in that same situation who's feeling happy, but someone who's also feeling extremely sad. Someone who's feeling stressed. So it's like, where does that illusion come from? It's kind of like.
Yeah. And then, like, whose standard are you going off of when you're like, okay, this life, like, and maybe it's just like your life in general. Maybe you're like, okay, I feel like something needs to change. I'm not good with where I'm at. And then we like to say to ourselves, I should be happy. I should be fine. I should be able to just be good with this. And it's like, well, whose rule is that? And also, why do you have to be so satisfied with everything? It's okay to be like, you know what? I want better in this area of my life. And it's okay to want better things.
Yeah. Is there a point, though, that you always want more? Because I've definitely felt that.
Well, for sure. In work, always.
Oh, there's a question. Like, you also, like, as a human, you ask yourself, like, why can't this be enough? And, like, for some people, like, sometimes...
Because some people are very satisfied with some,
like,
and it's okay that someone else is satisfied.
Like, if you're satisfied, please call me. Like, I want to know how.
I do know people. My dad says it all the time. Where he's like, there are some people that work 9-to-5 jobs and go home and live these like sweet,
but have we
normal
talked
lives.
To them? Do we know that's true?
And they just. Yeah, I know.
The more
I know
talk people
where
I
I'm
just think, I don't believe it.
I think that
I love to think that there's like gonna be a moment. Like, I literally still lie to myself.
I wish I was a recliner husband.
Like, once I get here or once I do this, like that'll be
That's
it. Like,
not
I'll
true.
be happy.
Everyone
like,
feels that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone does that.
But there's a difference though between like satisfied or like content, I think, and happy. I think I am happy. I'm also sad. Let's be very clear. Yeah. I am sad, but I am also very happy. And like, I would say right now is a period of time where like, I am also grieving in a lot of ways and processing in a lot of ways, but I'm also happy and I'm sad. I wouldn't say I'm satisfied is a tricky word because it's not that like, it's not that I don't love what I have, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to keep evolving or want more.
Content, absolutely not.
Not content.
Oh my gosh.
But do you do that with your mind where you're like, okay, once this happens, or like, I just need to get
I do that
here.
all
Like,
the time.
I mean, I know everybody sets little
goals.
goals.
No, I've played that game for years.
And it's like, okay, did that, check
like,
this.
I literally
like,
think in my brain, if I get this, then I will feel this way.
I mean, that's how I felt like
if I go
with renting. Like, I was like, once I just have a house, like once we just have a home and it's our home and we can make it our home, like, it'll be great.
What I do now, Tori, is when I feel that way, I put myself mentally in that place. Like, I'm like, okay, you think you're going to be happy with X, Y, Z, fake boobs, for example. What would you be wearing today? What would you be doing? Who would you be talking to? How would you be feeling? What photos would you be taking? And like, I go through the whole mental thing. And then like, 24 hours later, I'm like, oh, but if I had fake boobs. and I do it again, and I'm like, okay, your life would be the exact same. You'd be in the exact same place. You would be with the same people. You like. So, what does getting that thing really make you feel? Right. And then, like, I do think there's certain situations
and
where
that
it's like,
thing
oh yeah,
usually is materialistic. Like that thing usually, like, oh, once I get here, once I make this much money, once I have this house.
It's not like, oh, once I worked out for 30 days, I'm gonna, you know, feel this or something. It's usually something. You're right. Like, once I buy this thing, it's usually something unattainable. Either stopped by
or a temporary thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it doesn't change. You think it's gonna change the bigger picture. Like you think, you're thinking happiness. Like me too. Like, oh well, once I move to this place or I'm with this person or whatever it is, I'm gonna be happy. And it's like you can't base your feeling off of a thing. Like you just can't do that. It doesn't work like that. It's your feeling comes off routine and everything you do in your day to day.
I don't know. I don't think I feel like that.
No.
And maybe part of it is just like I don't know what I want. Like, if you were like 5 years from now, what do you want that to look like? I literally could not answer that question.
I feel like, maybe that's like like I hate to say that, but like maybe it is like an age thing.
Like you feel like, oh, I haven't checked these boxes.
Like 20s is like, it's just like, your 20s are like, here's a bunch of boxes, and like this is the things that you need to fill. Like within your 20s, you got to live a little bit, but you got to be successful, and you got to get married and have kids, and like there's all of these like boxes that you should check, and if you don't check them, you're less than, and if you do check them, you've like done it too much. Or
I will say, like coming out of college, I was like, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna do this.
So
with
you
my
at
career.
one point,
so I did like have that where. I don't think it was a I'll be happy when, because I was very happy. Like, weirdly, I think it's because I was on birth control hormones. I was strangely happy with my 80-hour a week work life. Like, very happy. But I did have, like, these are things I must have. This is what I need. I was, like, so clear and focused. And then I attained all of that, and none of it ended up the way, and maybe that's why I've now ended up in this place, because I've learned the very hardest way that you can know with 100% clarity what you want.
I feel like you've even done that, like you were saying, sorry, I just really interrupted you, but like a couple years back when, I think it was like when you had Kyla the first year or something, and they were like, you're on board to make like 6 figures or like some, whatever it was. You were like, you've like made this, and you were like, it wasn't like sometimes you make goals like that. You're like, once I hit this, or this is my goal, and then you hit it, and you're like, and but why does it still feel empty? So, or like, my cup's not full.
No, that's a great point. So I had all these things that I was like, with total clarity,
had these boxes.
I want this, and I'm going to have it, and I did.
And I will do what it takes to have it. Yes. And then when you have it, it's like, was it worth it?
And then those things ended up being nothing like what I thought they were. And on top of that, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was the year I had Demi. It was 2020. I had this, so I had started my team. So it wasn't the start of real estate. It was when I started my team, I had a number in mind of what I wanted to make and what I wanted the team to look like. And I got to the end of the year, and I had done those things, and I got the paperwork in the mail that was like, this is how much money you received. And I looked at it, and for the first time, I was like, that wasn't worth it. Like, the amount of suffering that had to happen, that should not have happened. And I will say, like, I think the end of 2020 was a little bit of a turning point for me. And maybe it was because I had accomplished what I set out to accomplish. I had hit all these goals. I had accomplished all these things. And none of it ended up feeling like, and then 2021, I was, like, miserable for the first time. For the very first time, actually. Like, I was happy. Oh, my goodness, Nanu! Why are you sad for no reason? I think that was and so maybe that's why I'm there. Now, I feel that I know with certainty that I can't know what I'm gonna want, and I can't know what's gonna be best, or what I'm gonna want life to look like, because I knew it so clearly. And not that I was wrong, because I'm happy with where I ended up, but it was not what I thought.
And like, I guess that's a good point too. It's like, be cautious too of like your goals, and like, yes, like it's okay to like push yourself or like do what it takes to get there. Like, absolutely. Like,
would you mind getting another wafer? Sorry. This one is very, very sad. Why are we sad? There's no reason. I'm like trying to give her a boob. It's not doing the trick. Why are we sad?
She said I was starving.
That wasn't what the milk is going to be flavored the same no matter how much we cry about it. Okay, sorry, Tori. Please continue your thought.
Where was I? Oh, so like do what it takes to get there, yes.
But be careful.
But be careful because you could like lose some things along the way or like
yeah,
change a dynamic that you never even thought that you would like change or do or lose or
maybe the things that there are things that you sacrificed along the way that you didn't even realize
that you and exactly you didn't even realize that it was happening because you're so focused on this one thing, and then you make it and like having to look back on that and say like, yeah, like I hit that goal, like, but
do I like how I did it?
Do I like the person that I like was along the way to create that or to make that or to hit that mark? Like, yeah. So that's like my, you know, like make your goals attainable, but push yourself, but like just be cautious of who you are when you're doing it.
I would agree. And I think to bring it back to our own personal pain and the pain of others and all of that, I would say that it is important to acknowledge those things along the way and to take a step back and process as things change and they happen. And it is okay to reevaluate and change your goals or what you want. And it's okay to say I was wrong. Like, it's okay to be like, I thought I wanted this. And then guess what? Now are you staring at Salem? Salem is just like...
She's just having a party.
She's just having a ball. She's like, that's what I was trying to tell you. And normally wafer wouldn't be my go-to food, but we need something easy that I don't have to pay attention too much so she's not choking. So, but, daggone it, what was I saying? It's okay to say you were wrong. It's okay to be like, I thought I wanted this thing, and now I'm changing course.
Yeah.
And that's all right. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It is never too late. It is never, ever, 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 ever. I don't care what the situation is.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It is never too late to be like, you know what? I'm going to reset. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to stop.
Because if you ask anybody else, they're going to be like, I wish I did it sooner.
I already can't wait for a midlife crisis. I'm like, y'all think
let's have one now.
You still have another marriage and you and another divorce. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I am one of those people though, and I want to take it back as I'm saying it, but which is
do you think you're gonna get married multiple times? Is that what you're about to say?
No, but my whole life I've been like, I can't wait to be like 40 and divorced. Like, I don't know why. I'm just like, I think it's so fun. I'm definitely gonna like be with my
I definitely make
sons,
jokes about
like
that'll be for
high
my
school
second
boys.
husband.
Like, I'm just so excited.
You could skip the first one, you know? You don't have to get married in the
first.
Well,
yeah, I think what is
that like?
I don't know. Tell me.
I'm like, who's done it that way that I like admire and know? Like,
well, I could tell you someone who's done it the first way. And
no, Callie, you can't have that.
Callie, please step away. The baby's not feeding you, even though it looks like
Callie,
yeah, sorry, this podcast has been really chaotic. But that's just how it is here.
It's just part of that's what I'm talking about.
We should change it from a curated life to a chaotic life.
A chaotic life.
A curated chaos.
I love it. A chaotic life.
Curated chaos. That is pretty funny. That is like on brand for you.
I think also if you are suffering, okay, bring it back. If you are suffering, it's important to ask, is this something within myself, or do I need to change something about my environment? Either way, you're responsible for that change.
Yes. Yes.
Like, you need to be happy within yourself no matter what's going on. But sometimes part of that is, no, sorry. Salem dropped food and I knew Callie was waiting for that moment.
She was like, yes, it's mine.
Like, I've been standing here the whole time hoping that was going to happen. But like, am I unhappy or am I miserable because of something I need to work on within myself? Or have I put myself in a situation that I should not be in? And either way, the responsibility is on you to do something about it.
Yeah.
And
because what you can't do is like, well, that was out of my control.
It's all, and then, like, there are going to be things that happen that you can't control, but you do get to control whether or not you control whether or not you stay.
Choose your reaction to what happened.
And you don't need to minimize your pain and be like, well, I should just be fine, or I should just move on, or whatever it is. Like, should you?
And who
decided that?
Who decided that? Who said that to you? Like,
or made you feel like it's okay to be a martyr. You don't need to be a martyr. It's not necessary. And like, I think parents do it all the time. They say like, oh, I made this decision for my kids. And it's like, we love to pawn stuff off on our kids and be like, oh, I'm staying for my kids, or I'm staying in my job for my kids, or we're going to live here for my kids. And it's like, is it for your kids, or is it easier? Does it seem easier to keep doing what you're doing? And you're going to put that on your kids and be like, well, it'd be hard. The change would be hard for them. You know, it's hard for them when you're miserable and you're not showing up as your best self because you're staying in an environment that you shouldn't be in, whether it's work or relationship or home or whatever it is. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. There's so much whining happening. Okay, any other thoughts, everybody? Well, the baby just carries on.
No, I think that's everything.
Betsy. Nothing.
Okay.
We're done. Yeah. Salem's like absolutely.
Salem's tapping Tori's shoulder. She's like, I feel like the attention has not been on me enough for this podcast. That was rude. Thank you, listeners. Thank you to anyone who's left a review. Some people have left like 5-star reviews on some platforms. Wow. And that's very You okay? And that is appreciated. That is very sweet. We appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody in our community that listens and responds and gives feedback and chats with us about it. It means a lot. So there it is. Thank you, everybody.